Ever pondered why half of Canada's population resides south of this imaginary line we call the 49th parallel? Well, sit tight because we're about to embark on a journey into the heart of this geographical conundrum. The 49th parallel, for those who might not be familiar, is a circle of latitude that is 49 degrees north of the Earth's equatorial plane. It stretches from the Atlantic Ocean on the east to the Pacific Ocean on the west, forming a part of the border between the United States and Canada. But here's the kicker. A whopping 50% of Canadians live south of this line. Intriguing, isn't it? Now let's paint a clearer picture of the geographic layout. To the north of the 49th parallel, Canada stretches out into expansive territories and provinces, spanning an area larger than the entire United States. This northern region is brimming with beautiful landscapes, from the majestic Rocky Mountains to the vast Arctic tundra. Yet, despite all this available land, half of Canada's population has chosen to settle south of the 49th parallel, closer to their American neighbors. This leaves a vast northern expanse that is significantly less populated. It's a fascinating demographic and geographic puzzle, one that has intrigued geographers, historians, and the curious minds alike for years. But why is this the case? What has led half of Canada's population to reside below this imaginary line? Is it a matter of climate, economy, or is there a historical reason behind it? Does it have something to do with Canada's colonial past, or its relationship with the United States? Well, the answer isn't as straightforward as you might think. It's a complex interplay of factors that have shaped and continue to shape the population distribution in Canada. Some of these factors are historical, rooted in the early days of Canadian settlement, while others are more contemporary, reflecting the changing dynamics of the 21st century. To unravel this mystery, we need to step back in time and explore Canada's history. So buckle up as we dive deeper into the story behind the 49th parallel mystery. Stay tuned. Let's journey back to the 1600s when European settlers first set foot on Canadian soil. The vast, uncharted wilderness of Canada offered a new world of opportunities, but also presented significant challenges. The first wave of settlers, primarily from France and Britain, were drawn to the southern regions of Canada. The reasons were practical. The south offered a more hospitable climate and fertile lands, ideal for farming and settlement. This was a stark contrast to the harsh and unforgiving northern territories, where the bitter cold and sparse resources deterred early settlement. The French initially settled in what is now Quebec, establishing a thriving fur trade with the indigenous peoples. On the other hand, the British found their home in areas that would later become Ontario, drawn by the promise of fertile farmlands. These early settlements were not just haphazard choices, but well-considered decisions based on survival and the promise of prosperity. As the centuries rolled on, significant migration patterns began to emerge. One key event that influenced these patterns was the American Revolution in the late 1700s. Loyalists to the British Crown, seeking refuge from the tumult of the Revolution, migrated north into Canada. They settled predominantly in the southern regions, further consolidating the population density in these areas. This influx of loyalists not only increased the population of the southern regions, but also brought with them skills, trades, and a cultural influence that would shape the development of these areas. This migration also led to the establishment of new provinces, including New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, further expanding the British presence in the south. So, the early settlements and migration patterns were not arbitrary, but a result of careful consideration of climate, resources, and political influences. These patterns, established over centuries, have had a lasting impact on the distribution of Canada's population. This historical migration pattern laid the foundation for the concentration of Canada's population south of the 49th parallel. As the wheels of the Industrial Revolution started turning, Canada's population distribution took another interesting turn. Imagine a wave of change sweeping across the globe, a change so profound that it forever alters the course of human history. That change was the Industrial Revolution, and it had a significant impact on Canada, particularly in the southern regions. In the late 18th and 19th centuries, the Industrial Revolution brought about a shift from manual labor and agricultural work to mechanized industry and factory production. This revolution didn't just change the way people worked, it changed where they lived. People flocked from the countryside to the cities, drawn by the promise of steady jobs and a new life. This process, known as urbanization, transformed the landscape of Canada. Cities like Toronto and Montreal became focal points of this urbanization trend. These cities, located in the south, offered opportunities that were not available in the more rural northern regions. Factories sprang up, offering jobs and a chance for economic stability. The influx of people brought about a boom in city growth, with buildings, roads, and infrastructure rapidly developing to accommodate the growing population. But it wasn't just the job opportunities that drew people to the cities. The promise of urban amenities played a significant role as well. Cities provided a wealth of resources and amenities, including schools, hospitals, and cultural institutions. These amenities, coupled with the economic opportunities, created a magnetic pull, drawing people from across Canada and beyond to the southern cities. As more and more people moved to the cities, the population distribution of Canada began to shift. The south, with its thriving cities and booming industries, became the dominant region in terms of population. The north, with its harsher climate and more rural lifestyle, couldn't compete with the allure of the south. The pull of job opportunities and urban amenities further solidified the south's population dominance. As we move forward, we'll see how modern factors continue to shape Canada's population distribution. Fast forward to today, and the south's population stronghold remains largely unchallenged. But why? Well, let's delve into the modern factors that contribute to this population distribution. Firstly, urbanization continues to be a driving force. With cities like Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver offering a buzzing urban lifestyle and a plethora of amenities, it's no wonder they attract people like magnets. These urban areas offer not just a higher quality of life, but also more job opportunities, better healthcare, and a wider range of educational institutions. Speaking of job opportunities, let's talk about the economic factors. The southern part of Canada is a hub for various industries, from technology to finance, manufacturing to media, and it's not just about quantity, but also about the quality of jobs. The south is where you'll find the head offices of major corporations, promising not just employment, but also career growth and advancement. Now, this doesn't mean that the north is devoid of economic activity, far from it. The northern parts of Canada are rich in natural resources, offering opportunities in sectors like mining and forestry. However, these industries often require a specific skill set and can be physically demanding, which may not appeal to everyone. And then there's immigration. Canada has a robust immigration policy, attracting people from all over the world. And where do most of these newcomers settle? You guessed it, in the south. Why? Well, it's a combination of factors like job opportunities, established communities of fellow immigrants, and of course the climate. That brings us to the climatic challenges of living in the north. Let's face it, not everyone is cut out for the long, harsh winters and short summers of the Canadian north. The southern climate is milder and more appealing to many, especially those coming from warmer countries. These modern factors continue to draw people to the south, perpetuating the population disparity. But as we'll see in the next scene, this doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Stay tuned. This unique population distribution has profound impacts and raises intriguing questions about Canada's future. The concentration of half of Canada's population south of the 49th parallel has far-reaching implications, affecting not just the economy, but also politics and culture. Economically, this demographic trend has led to a concentration of industries and jobs in the southern region. Much of Canada's economic activity, from finance to technology, is based in cities like Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, all located south of the 49th parallel. This has led to a vibrant and dynamic economic landscape, but also to a significant wealth disparity between the northern and southern regions. Politically, this population distribution influences the balance of power. With the majority of voters residing in the south, political agendas and policies are often skewed towards their needs and perspectives. This could potentially lead to a marginalization of the northern communities, creating a political divide. Culturally, with the majority of Canada's population, and therefore its cultural institutions, located in the south, there's an increased focus on urban and southern Canadian experiences. This can result in a cultural narrative that may overlook or underrepresent the unique experiences and perspectives of those living in northern Canada. Looking ahead, several factors could potentially shift this population distribution. Climate change, for instance, could make northern regions more habitable, leading to a shift in population northwards. Similarly, the rise of remote work could also have an impact. As people are no longer tied to a physical workplace, they could choose to live further north, where the cost of living is often lower. But it's important to note that these are just speculations. The actual future of Canada's population distribution will be shaped by a complex interplay of factors, many of which are impossible to predict with certainty. As we continue to shape our world, the line that half of Canadians call home may begin to shift. Only time will tell.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.